UK, I know. It's no coincidence. She is the major draw here. She is the favourite for the event, overwhelming favourite. And Clijsters will enjoy the fact that she's the underdog here. No pressure on her. She was all smiles in her pre-match interviews. 4-1 the head-to-head in her advantage. Let's see how she goes here.
Ready? Play.
It may well have been out Sharapova's return, but Clijsters wasn't hanging about.
Well, the way that Clijsters likes to play her tennis, she likes to play as if there's nobody down the other end. She just gets on with what's happening with her tennis. For me, the key for Clijsters in this match is it's an on-the-day kind of thing with Clijsters at the moment. It's all about, she talks a lot about how she's feeling on the ball. Is it okay? Is it there? That's the absolute key for her.
Oh, close call. One or two oohs and ahs, but it's a bit early to challenge. Yeah, we saw her on British Eurosport last week in Hasselt, Kim, and to be honest, her form there, although she won the tournament, wasn't of a standard that would worry Sharapova. But it's an upward graph.
Yes, in many ways I feel I was a bit harsh on her because I probably felt I didn't give her enough praise for actually winning the event, which is a great effort after being 2 months out. But I was looking at it through the sort of prism of coming to Madrid and comparing that sort of absolute standard.
Interesting that Sharapova was prepared to come in. We haven't had a great match yet in these end-of-year championships. This might be it. So a purposeful start for the smiler.
Induce.
Clijsters has said to the Belgian media that she's treating this week as well as last week as preparation for the 2007 season. So she's not going to take a break like a lot of the players do. She's going to keep on practicing and training really hard.
Yeah, she's had her off-season.
Yes, she's had quite a few over the years. Not heading off to Tahiti or somewhere nice like Marismo did last year.
A strong start from Clijsters. And of course next year will be her last, and she'd love to go out with an assault on those major titles.
Well, originally she said she was going to retire at the Antwerp tournament in 2008, but the Belgian journalists are telling me that she's only scheduled everything until Wimbledon next year, and then she doesn't really know. The plan is to get married and then have a family.
And there's Yuri, Sharapov's dad and coach. With Clijsters, you sense, despite this wonderful demeanour, when she decides on something, she's not going to be deflected. Even with babies, I sense they'll appear on the appointed day.
You can see you're well tuned into that kind of mentality, Simon.
Yes, a bit of experience. Whoa. It's just got the faintest of tips to that, so it shouldn't count as an ace, but as good as. In fact, the stats people here are giving it as an ace, so we'll go with them.
I gave it an ace. That's good enough.
Good enough for me then, sir.
Interesting, again, watching her warm up, how thoroughly she prepared her shoulder, how thoroughly she did all the directions of her serve. She was so methodical about this part of her game.
Well played, lovely rhythm from Clijsters there. Effortless.
Well, that's what Clijsters wants to do. She wants to get Sharapova in the extremities of the court, get her to take one hand off the racket, start taking some of those big strides that we see from her sometimes.
That's a sloppy miss from Sharapova. Don't often see many like that. Plenty of discussion about the court. A lot of people saying it's just like an indoor clay court. Plenty of bounce, but not much pace.
Yes, I think that's where that is coming from, because the bounces are quite high and there's a little check on it. I wonder if there's an awful lot of sand in the paint mixture,
yes,
which is making the ball sit up and not come through. But having said that, I think if you do get hold of the ball, this is a court you can hit a lot of winners on as well. I think the balls are very light here.
This didn't seem to stop Enen Arden in that wonderful first set last night against Hingis.
No, I don't think you could have done that on a clay court. I don't think you would have got the sort of cutting edge that she had. Sharapova needs any motivation for this tournament. She only had to look across the next practice court where Enen Arden was just tearing strips into this poor young Spanish junior who was her hitting partner. It was like a punch bag.
Mighty blows from Sharapova. Yes, I watched before that. I was watching Martina Hingis, who seemed to be out on the practice court for hours with Radek Stepanek.
Yeah, said yesterday that she really didn't feel she played that well. I don't think she was allowed to play well, particularly, but I don't think she had a good feel on this court.
Well, you could hear me wince, but it worked. I hate it when she does it.
There is no compromise on the movement from Clijsters, and there never will be.
However many people like me hate watching the splits, she will keep doing it.
This is a good sign for Clijsters on this serve.
40-15.
Good serving. Good serving from both players. It's a very promising start indeed. Building up nicely here.
Clijsters dosu.
That's the situation. Second match here. You've just joined us, Svetlana Kuznetsova beating Elena Dementьeva in straight sets in the first match. And to follow, Petrova against Hingis. And you've just come in and wondering what you're watching. You're watching the end-of-year championships. The best 8 players in the world made it. Most successful players in 2006, battling it out for the Sony Ericsson Championship. Maria Sharapova qualified in 2nd place. Kim Clijsters here in 6th. Clijsters winning 3 titles this year. Sharapova 5, including of course her 2nd Grand Slam in New York. It is huge serving. 182 kilometers now, that one.
49.
The pattern of Sharapova's serving, particularly the last 3 or 4 months, has been really serving to the forehand of the right hand, and then using the backhand side as an alternative, as a change-up. It's worked really well.
Effortless.
2 games all.
He's rarely happy or content with what she's producing, but he must be in the last few weeks.
Well, a lot's been said about Yuri Sharapov. I can tell you one thing about him. Every minute of every day is spent taking care of his daughter and her tennis career. It's just unbelievable, the commitment.
First double. And you don't around the tennis circuit hear many people say he's a lovely guy, Yuri Sharapov, but there's a lot of people who admire what he's done, and you have to. Even from its conception, the idea of taking Maria to the States from Siberia, he didn't know how good she was. Not really. Had an idea. Still a long shot from there to here.
And you sort of feel, because of all his devotion, really, I think she's the best prepared athlete in women's tennis. Maybe in women's sport at the moment.
Mm.
She just has to resist pulling up on that forehand. That's what I remember seeing pictures of her when she was 12, 13. Tiny little thing. Racket, end of the racket head, always way up in the air. She's getting it down.
Was she ever a tiny little thing?
She was a tiny little thing when she was 12, 13.
That's awesome. That is an awesome shot to take that on the drive volley. She deserves the break just for that. And she's got the first. Welcome back, Sharapova on serve, 3-2, second service. That's a big miss from Clijsters, having been broken, because she could have started the retaliation early.
Net. Second service.
That was kind of... Some mighty blows again. Courageous second serve to set the point up.
These days, Sharapova really is getting into what I call combination hitting. 2 backhands cross court, and then it has been the third backhand down the line or come in and knock off the volley. She does that in practice really well. It's starting to come out in matches now.
Under increasing pressure now, Sharapova unleashing bomb after bomb.
She's not getting a lot of time on the ball. She doesn't need a lot of time on the ball, but I think she would like an extra split second.
Not many returns like that.
40-30.
Sharapova holds 4-2. Clijsters to serve. And one little anecdote I might just squeeze in here. Watching the practice this afternoon, and at the end of the practice, Clijsters is serving. She's put cans down in the corners, rather like you would in a fairground, trying to knock them over. And eventually she knocked over a couple, sat down. Her hitting partner stood up. I'll have a go. And he knocked one down first go. Now, I'd have fired him almost then and then if I was Clijsters. She thought it was the funniest thing ever. Typical of her. Hands above the head, laughing, clapping.
Clijsters, in the world of professional sport, she's a funny one because most players like to be sort of their little bubble and just have their few people around them. Clijsters loves being around people, and the people that she does have around her are all familiar. Her hitting partner she's known since she was 8 or 9. She loved playing in Hasselt last week, which was about 20 minutes from her house. And she seemed to spend, she did a blog last week on the website, on the WTA website, and spent most of her time sort of cooking for her fiance and her dad.
Oh, what happened there? Didn't seem any excuse for that. Was she having half an eye on Clijsters?
Well, she may have done. She doesn't have an awful lot of natural feel. Doesn't really have the soft hands.
There's a good little half volley from Clijsters, and again Sharapova not really with the feel to deal with that.
But her tennis, I mean, she's always talked about her tennis as a long-term project, and the idea is to get behind these humongous ground strokes and get into the net, start shortening some of the points.
Clijsters under the cosh but survives. Still in touch in this set, but hanging on, you sense.
4 games to 3.
It.
Wait, please, wait.
People still coming in. It's very nearly a sellout here. I would think there's around 9,000 people. She may have her critic, Sharapova. One thing she does all around the world, she puts those bums on those seats. Everywhere.
Yes, I was sort of wondering who is going to lead women's tennis in 2007, because I think women's tennis is slightly leaderless at the moment. There is sort of a muchness of a muchness at the top. This could be the woman to do it. And in many ways, it's her tennis, it's the kind of style she has. But for me, Sharapova is a star because she's always camera ready. Whether she's walking to the practice courts, whether she's doing her photo shoots, always looks her very best. Something I can only dream of.
Sam, you'd have been there as long as there weren't mornings.
Oh, I won't go into that. But there's just this incredible discipline that it's in every sort of sinew of her body. It's just amazing. Yeah. It really is amazing. I think that's no exaggeration.
Vintage Clijsters on the prowl, moving in, crunching the forehand.
For me, Clijsters at her best on this kind of court would beat Sharapova at her best. She's got the game for it, but I'm not sure she's got enough tennis behind her to execute out here.
Instantly, well, the ball boy goes across court. A brief glimpse of him. There's Yuri, who's not a male model, but the ball boys are male models here, and they have been picked by Yuri's daughter here. They're on the 8 o'clock match every night. Thumbs up from you, sir?
Well, yes, they all came and sat down next to me a little while ago. I was quite shocked. It had nothing to do with my presence, I can promise you. I just happened to be in the row that they were supposed to sit in.
You don't know that.
Oh, I know that.
But once she's on a tennis court, she has a one-track mind, the Sharapova. And that's why she produces shots like that.
Well, she hit the nail on the head in the sort of pre-match interview when Mark Woodford was asking about previous matches, and it's so important what she said. She says a new match. There's no baggage.
Big rally for Clijsters. It was a really good get from Sharapova down in the forehander.
Clijsters could play down the lines a little more against Sharapova, taking the time away from the Russian, and this is almost the perfect shot, really.
Here's number 3. 180 Ks, 111 miles an hour, that is.
30-15.
Sumptuous return from Sharapova. 2 points from the set. It's huge hitting. Nothing wrong with that serve. And it's set point. Oh no, I think it might have got the centre line. She's going to challenge. Yeah, there's a gesture there as if she forgot that she could challenge. But she can, and I think she might be vindicated here. It's going to be very close, but I think it just got the outside of the line. Oh, did it? Yes. Couldn't be any closer.
Miss Clijsters has 2 challenges left.
Let's hear it for Hawkeye. I don't think that would have been overruled. Oh, couple of very quick steps there. Mighty blows, but the footwork was wonderful.
Yes. Taller players, particularly players over 6 foot, do tend to take big steps around the ball. Not Sharapova these days. She's really cured herself of that.
Clijsters.
Well played. 6 aces now for Clijsters. But the big game coming up. Sharapova serving for the first set. So after half an hour, just over 34 minutes, Sharapova serving for the first set. Got just the back of the line. 3rd ace for the Russian.
I have to say, I do love that service action. It just really uncoils itself in such a beautiful way.
It's a big ask to stay with Clijsters, with Sharapova hitting at this level and this power.
I think the power is overwhelming. I'm so interested in Sharapova's service direction because, as I said, she normally does serve a lot more to the forehand of right-handers. Today against Clijsters, she's actually going much more to the backhand, which is absolutely fascinating. I don't think there's any accident in that.
No, you sense there's no accident in anything she does. Right down to the purple dress. 3 set points. Oh, and just about her best shot of the set to finish it off. Sharapova takes it 6 games to 4.